Hello and welcome to Bio 101. This is the course that accompanies our Bio 100 course. Most of you are enrolled in the Bio 100 course at the same time. Some of you are not, which is just fine, but this introduction will be abbreviated significantly relative to the introduction that we had for the actual lecture. So, for those of you that are not in lecture, my name is Ben Bramall. I'll be your instructor, of course, for the lab portion of this course. I'm an associate professor of biology here at Asbury University, and I teach this class in the spring. I'm not teaching it right now, but I teach several sections of this course, the Bio 101, in the spring, and have done so for all my 6 years here at Asbury. I've also taught this online version for a number of years, 5 years perhaps, and so I feel like we've ironed out many of the problems, the little kinks that we've had in the past with this. So I want to talk to you just briefly about how the lab will work, and to do that, let's look at our syllabus. So as we look at the syllabus, we have the text listed there, and interestingly, there is no text, as in a book anyway, that you have to purchase for the class, but the way the lab works is that we partner with a company referred to as Late Night Labs, and Late Night Labs provides us the framework in order to put together these labs. The labs have been tailored for our needs here at Asbury. They cover what we want to cover and what is close as possible to what is covered in the in-seat version, the in-person version of this class. So this means that if you are on campus taking this course, you would pay a $90 lab fee. Because you're not taking it on campus, you don't pay that lab fee, and actually you should pay attention to that. Occasionally it's just a glitch that doesn't get taken care of, so you should not be charged a $90 lab fee. If you are, you should let me know and we'll take care of it. But you do need to purchase, and you'll purchase this yourself, a subscription to Late Night Labs. The subscription costs $59.95, so you save about $30 versus what you would pay if you were on campus taking this class. And I have a section code that you can see right there on the syllabus, 400-28002, that is our section for Late Night Labs. That's important because I have many different sections, and so this is the section code that pertains to our class in particular. There are instructions posted on our Discovery site for registering for Late Night Labs. You'll see it there just under the course materials there at the top of the page. It's a PDF. You can download that PDF and it walks you through. It's very easy, step by step, how to subscribe to Late Night Labs. But you need the section code, and the section code is right there for you. So once you do that, then everything else about the course will make perfect sense. If we look on down at the syllabus, we see that we have the learning goals listed there. The course, this lab course, supports the lecture course, and so our goal is to gain an understanding of the scientific method. We focus on that even a little more in lab than we do in lecture, simply because in lab we're doing experiments and learning, practicing the scientific method. We'll sharpen our laboratory skills. Now we do it in a virtual sense, admittedly, but nonetheless we get to sharpen our lab skills. And as we said in lecture, we want to understand the difference between science and non-science, and also between science and technology. And so we'll use different technologies during the course of our class. And then we, most importantly probably, in this lab class, will get a bit of re-emphasis on the concepts that we learn in lecture, things like cell biology, genetics, evolution, and ecology. So I will make this brief note. Those of you that are not in lecture may need to do a little bit of outside work, in that it will be obvious to you if that's the case once you start these labs. It may be that you need to do just a bit of outside reading, and I can help direct you towards resources if that's necessary, or it may be that the readings associated with the labs, you may find that those are sufficient for you. But do keep in mind that you're in a slightly different boat because everyone else is taking the lecture, and so they're exposed to these topics. They've been exposed to them very recently, and you will not have that experience, of course. But we try, whenever possible, to match the lecture and lab so that things are together. Let's talk a little bit about how the lab is laid out. So what you'll find is that the Late Night Labs platform provides an interesting way to access these labs. The lab book is built into the overall system, so you'll have an introduction, and then you'll have a lab. And so you get to conduct that lab at your own pace, and you'll actually be manipulating beakers and food in some cases. You do a virtual dissection at one particular point, and so it's as close as possible to what you would experience in the lab in a virtual sort of setting. You'll fill out a lab report based on that lab, just like you would do in class, and that lab report will come from information, many times bits of data that you take as you go through the lab. And then, and this is important, part of your grade comes from a lab quiz. And so I need you to understand, as I have in bold and highlighted, underlined on the syllabus there, the lab quizzes are in Discovery. So you're accessing two websites at once. You're accessing the late night labs, and you'll be doing two things there. And then you're accessing the lab quizzes, which are on our Discovery site. So let's look down at the grading category, and I think that'll make things a little bit more clear. So what we see is this, that there are 30 points possible for each lab, and that means that there are 15 labs, so there's 450 points possible total. So for every lab, this is what you should be looking for and checking off as you do it. You should have 10 points from short answer questions, 10 points from multiple choice questions, and 10 points from the lab quiz, which is again in Discovery. And it's the same for every single lab, so you can check that off. I'll be posting your grades periodically in Discovery, so that's where you'll find your grades, but you'll also be able to see your completion, those 10 points for the short answer questions and for the multiple choice questions in late night labs. It should be pretty straightforward, to be perfectly honest. I can certainly answer any questions that you may have about that. We go down now to our schedule, and so the schedule is quite simple. I have the lecture and lab schedule merged here, but for those of you that are just in lab, all you're concerned with is the far right-hand column. So we have an 8-week semester. We have 15 labs, meaning we have 2 labs per week, except for the last week, in which case we don't have a lab. So we start with the scientific method and biological molecules this week, and then we move on to labs that basically, for the most part, not 100%, but pretty close, match what we're talking about in lecture. So this is the goal of this introduction, is to make it brief, and so I think that I will conclude. I think we've covered all the major points here. Be sure to let me know if you have questions or any confusion about what I've just explained here, or if you have any issues regarding late night labs. One thing I might add is this: if you have trouble, it's pretty rare at this point that people have trouble, mechanistic trouble, like glitches with the lab, but you're welcome to contact me about that. You can also call Late Night Labs directly. They have a helpline that I believe it's open 8 to 8. They staff it, and oftentimes, with rare exception in the past couple of years, it's students don't quite understand one thing or another, and it seems like a glitch, but it's actually not. So if I'm in class or something of that nature and you can't get a hold of me, you can call their 1-800 number, which is found on that PDF that I have posted on our Discovery site, and they can also help you with questions. But of course, any course-specific questions obviously will be directed to me. Okay, I look forward to working with you this semester, and I hope that we have a good week as we start out this week.